Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 4th of August. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my tactical analysis with you. I hope you can take some board and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, this is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com, and is published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Okay, now on ES, we had a lovely move down on Friday. We broke, obviously, with some confidence, the daily middle band, and we did the same on the Qs. Both ES and the Qs landed at a possible head and shoulder neckline. That's ES, that's the Qs, and on RTH as well. And my post yesterday was talking about the possible rally we could see, and that is in progress. We already had a 60-minute buy signal brewing at the end of the week. That has now fixed. On NQ, we had another one brewing. That has fixed. We didn't get a buy signal on RTY. We actually had a buy signal fail at the low there. But actually, you quite often get the reaction after that, which is something I was pointing out in my post yesterday. And YM, we've also got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. So I'm really liking this rally. In terms of the topping setups here, what I'm looking for is a right shoulder. Really, the ideal target, I don't know if we'll make it, but the ideal target would be a back test of the daily middle band. And I'm thinking that that is the obvious target on the Qs. That's obviously the obvious target on ES and SPX as well. We will see how that goes. But I think that's the obvious plan for today. Now, obviously, we could break up from there and deliver a high retest. I think the market's feeling a little depressed, and generally speaking, the kind of move we saw on Friday will deliver more downside afterwards. So I'm not really expecting to see a retest. I think we're going to see a rally up here. Likely highest we get to is the monthly pivot here at 63.5675. And I think we'll probably fail there. We could just fail at the weekly pivot. Either of those would be perfectly acceptable as a right shoulder high. All right, on NQ. Again, we're looking for this is actually the right shoulder here. I got that wrong on my first, I amended my post yesterday on the equities things. That actually called the ideal right shoulder high a little higher. It was a better match with the daily middle band when I got it correct. I was talking about, I was correcting on the bigger picture webinar yesterday. So this is the ideal right shoulder high. Could see a test of the weekly pivot. We're actually almost there. So most of the rally has obviously been overnight. On RTY, we've already got a double top that's broken down there, and we've got another one on YM. I'm expecting to see a bit higher. None of these buy signals have made target yet on ES and Q and YM, but this is the pattern. It's already established, and that's the target down there. And it's not a bad looking target, although obviously it could go lower as SPX and Q go down. But I am thinking that actually, having lagged at the beginning of this, we may well see SPX and Qs accelerate and now go down harder than RT1 and YM, which had already really got started before they turned. Looking at DAX and the STX, not unexpectedly, we're seeing a decent little retest here. Is there a possible head and shoulders forming? No, but we've already got a very nice looking double top, which is just waiting to break down. I think this is just a rally, possible resistance, weekly pivot, possible resistance, monthly pivot, but I think it rallies and then it fails with the rest. ESTX, the same, except that on here, the double top, which isn't as nice, has already broken down. This is double top. The second high was lower, so there is an argument this could be a bear flag. I don't think it is, but it's more likely to be. But I think really I'm expecting this to follow the others, and the obvious sequence for the others is a rally here and then a fail. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts, where, of course, I was looking at these patterns here. This is the one on SPX, which is the one I posted yesterday. And so I'm looking for a rally up here, ideal target in the 6300 area, and then a fail. Looking at the Qs, this is the one I amended because I was looking at this as the right shoulder high when in fact it is here. So I've amended that accordingly, and I updated the post after I spotted that in the bigger picture webinar yesterday. Here we've got a possible RSI 14 bicycle brewing, we've got a possible RSI 5 bicycle brewing. We've got exactly the same on SPX. I'm certainly expecting the RSI 5 bicycle to make target, possibly at the open. Might be a bit more struggle, or of a struggle for the RSI 14 one to make target. Looking at Dia, No divergence there, and we didn't have any divergence on IWM. Obviously, I posted these yesterday, and I published the targets as well. All right, let's have a look at DX. Now, DX, I was talking about this on the Bigger Picture webinar yesterday, and I'm not convinced this downtrend will be sustained, but at the moment, it's moving with equities. That being the case, we've actually already got a head and shoulders here that has broken down. We could be forming an alternate, but actually, I'd probably be inclined to stick with this one. I'm thinking this may reject back up to the high, watching that with interest. We've got a weak 60-minute buy signal that is fixed, and obviously we've seen the breakdown. So if we are going to see this reject back up to the high, I'd be looking for a move back over 99 and then continuation up higher from there. ZB, obviously, we had a head and shoulders. It failed. All of the head and shoulder patterns on ZB, ZN, and TNX and TLT, they all failed. They've all got similar targets, which is basically the retest of the preceding trend. We're getting pretty close to that on ZB. We're getting pretty close. Well, no, we've already done it on ZN, and we're pretty close to it on TNX and TLT as well. How far up could this go? Well, this is all based on the expectation that after these weak numbers, that the Fed is likely to cut interest rates at the next meeting. And I think that's probably right. So we'll see how far this takes us. All right, CL. CL, we had a little head and shoulders here. I haven't marked it in because it pretty much played out by the time I saw it. That has made target already. No current positive divergence. I'm thinking this could well go lower. That's supported by HO, which has got a head and shoulders, which is broken down with basically a target at a retest of this low here at 2.2. Not seeing anything at the moment suggesting that won't make target. RBOB. We've also got an obvious lower target, which is this trend line here in the 2.07 area. Leaning towards that making target, we have got a 60-minute buy signal fixed here. On NG, we saw a very weak rally on the 60-minute buy signal, which has reached the possible near miss target, and as soon as it reaches the 30 level here, I'll call it and just put it down and just disregard it after that. I'm thinking this is going to at least retest the low and may well continue lower. The overall setup on NG, I was just talking about a more mixed setup on the bigger picture on the oils, but on NG, it's pointing fairly firmly down, except, of course, as I mentioned last week, we have got a seasonal period where it tends to go up. So if you have a look at these here, what would it go up? It would basically go up generally $1 over the next 4 months into December. And then $1.40 into the end of January. We are in a seasonally strong period, but overall the pattern setup is leaning short. So we'll see how that goes. All right, now precious metals, in which I know you were interested. We haven't got an IHS forming here on gold, but I am thinking this might go higher. We do now have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing on the retest of this high, which we've now seen. SI. We've had a little IHS form. You know, I regularly talk about this when it's a head and shoulders breakdown, one forming in the opposite direction. This isn't a head and shoulders, but to a degree, the same thing applies. We've got an IHS which is broken up here. It's only got a target at about 38.2 area, but I am thinking this might well make a target because overall, the metals are looking modestly bullish. We've got a head and shoulders which is broken down here on palladium. 60-minute buy signal is fixed. We've got a nice looking potential level bottom here. If that were to break up, that could take us back pretty close to a retest of this high. On platinum, we've got a head and shoulders. That one's already made target. We've got another little potential level bottom here, and if that breaks up, that could deliver a nice move up. I am wondering whether we're going to take the opportunity of this retracement on equities to finally see that high retest on gold. But I was warning in the bigger picture webinar yesterday that we could actually see that retest of the high on gold could potentially be the second high of a double top, setting up potentially a larger retracement. It doesn't have to be that way, but there are. There is very much that possibility on the charts, and there's that possibility across a number of the precious metals. Is there a possibility of that on HG? Not really. This looks like a bear flag forming on this buy signal so far. I'm expecting that to at least retest the low, possibly deliver a larger rally after that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it go down. I was talking about the bigger picture, about the really, really nice trend line that's been a resistance trend line that's now been established at this high on the daily chart. and that is strongly suggesting that we go lower. UUSD, we've got an IHS which has broken up and could be failing. So we'll see. Effectively, it's the mirror image almost of what we're seeing on DX. GBP USD, again, we've got a larger head and shoulders which is broken down. We haven't got that on Euro yet, but we're forming what could be a larger head and shoulders here. So on GBP, that's already broken down, but we've got this little IHS which has formed and is now starting to break up. I haven't marked in the arrows because I haven't broken up when I was capping it this morning, but that's got a target up here at about the 1.348 area. Looking at USD JPY, possible positive divergence here, possible little double bottom here. Not a lot to suggest at the moment that it is a double bottom, but maybe. US dollars in an inflection point here. We will see how that goes. In terms of USD CAD, we've got a possible head and shoulders forming here. It hasn't broken down yet, but obviously it's there in the mix, and it's part of this inflection point. Australian dollar, we've got a double bottom which has already broken up and is thinking about heading up to the target, although that was a pretty hard fail there, but it didn't invalidate the double bottoms because double bottoms don't get invalidated. NZUSD, we've got a possible IHS forming, and I think actually if I've drawn that very slightly wrong. So I think this IHS is starting to break up. It is. I haven't marked in the arrows because it wasn't breaking up last time I looked. But this potentially takes the NZ significantly higher and could take DX lower. We do have an awful lot of patterns which are supporting DX lower, and it's possible that the next move down on equities is going to drag US dollar down with it, but there is a possibility that it isn't. And bigger picture on the US dollar, we still have this bullish bigger picture, which I'm thinking may well deliver. On KC, not getting a support trend line actually holding here at all. We may just be drifting back in a fairly uncoordinated way back to a retest of this low in the 277 area. On SB, I was saying on the bigger picture last night that we've got a nice looking IHS here, but really it's got to break up this week if it's not going to start looking implausibly large on the right shoulder. Week 60-minute buy signal has reached possible near miss target, not really getting a lot of hints of direction either way. CC, this IHS has broken down. This is a potential little level top as well. Could this be a head and shoulders? Yes. Most definitely it could be a head and shoulders. In fact, I think it is. So that head and shoulders is starting to break down. And obviously this fits in with the IHS versus head and shoulders. Basically, this is failing in the other direction. The head and shoulders has already failed. This has got a target. Hang on, I'll just quickly measure that out as this is ready to go on now. That target doesn't get us back down to a retest to the low, I think, but let's see how far it does get us. All right, that gets us down into about the 75.10 area. Sorry, no, the probably about the 75.50 area, and I'm liking that target. That may take us down into a full retest of this low. Looking at cotton, we've got this triangle. The obvious target is a retest of this low here at 66.25. We've not made it yet. We're rallying a bit at the moment. It looks like we're going to be, but I'm leaning towards seeing that target reach. Lumber, no obvious topping pattern here. We do have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, but it's still grinding up at the moment. ZW, I'm still leaning towards seeing some lower targets on basically all of the grains. We have got a 60-minute buy signal fixed here. It hasn't failed, despite really trying a couple of times. Might see a bit of a rally here, but overall, I'm leaning short. On corn, I was looking for a full retest of this low, and we haven't seen it yet. I'm still expecting to see it, and probably on the bigger picture, a bit lower as well. Looking at soy, I'm leaning lower here too. We've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed. Actually, I think this might be a strong. No, that's a full-size buy signal now. I'm leaning towards maybe seeing a bit of a rally, but I'm leaning towards seeing lower targets afterwards. Soybean oil is broke down from the level top, and that's got a target down here in about the 52.2 area. I've got a possible head and shoulder neckline, which I'm watching, which is in about the 51.7 area. Live cattle, we saw a bit of a break in the uptrend here. Not seeing much in the way of suggesting that we're going to see a lower retracement here, but this could be an H&S right shoulder forming. Lean hogs hasn't broken up over this declining resistance yet, but obviously it's in another test now. If it breaks up, then this has got a target well, not necessarily all the way back up at the high, but we haven't got a topping pattern, bottoming pattern here. But I'm quite liking a retest of this high here at 96.875. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions. Oh, George, seriously, I'll be sending that over to you, but don't do it before I send you the email because I've got an offer for you on that. Yeah, don't worry about the crypto. Um, but if you get both of the others, I'm actually just going to give you the crypto for free anyway. All right, great. But yeah, wait for the email. I will have to get that out today, unless I'm going to be delaying the start of it. So, I'm planning to get that out today. I've basically done all my work for the day. I've got my post out. I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing that. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap, guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. All right, take care.